I'd rather show you what I got. Where I walk, where I talk. See me flying down my route, pass me the ball. I ain't dropping none, I don't fumble at all. Winner, chicken dinner every time we ball. Throwing it like a burner, I dunk it like LeBron. Hey. Monday night Fredo, Infinity TV.
Welcome back here live on Monday Night Fredo, live from the Infinity Studios here in Los Angeles. Man, oh man, what a game we had last night, live from Glendale, Arizona. Believe it or not, Patrick Mahomes wins another Super Bowl champion, his second in 5 years. Believe it or not, I don't know if it's time, but I will get more into this, but I don't know if it's time to say, like, hey, it's Patrick Mahomes now in that conversation where he might be one of the greatest quarterbacks in only 5 years of experience. Woo, that's going to be something to talk about, but make sure you stay tuned because I have a lot to say about how Philadelphia performed yesterday. Yes, I understand they did okay, but not good enough to win the game, okay? But let's not forget about what happened on Saturday night. The Lakers, with the new players they got, D'Angelo Russell, Vanderbilt, these guys performed very well in Golden State, took them down as well. Currently, right now, they're in action up in Portland, and we'll give you guys some updates on what's going on up in Portland. LeBron James not playing again for his third straight game. What is wrong with them? Just getting rest, guys. It's the middle of the season. It's kind of, it's going to the All-Star break this weekend. So why even play? Because I'm pretty sure he's scheduled to play over at the All-Star game. So that All-Star game and All-Star weekend is taking place this upcoming weekend in Utah. So make sure everyone stays tuned for that. But I do want to go ahead and start with this topic real quick because there was something interesting. You guys, I'm gonna throw you guys a curveball right now. And I'm up for this. This is something to do with Major League Baseball, all right? Real quick, real Major League Baseball, because I want to spend some time on Super Bowl and the NFL and some basketball. But Major League Baseball made it official. For some of you guys out there that keep, and stay in tune with baseball, you know that in extra innings prior to this past season, extra innings were just extra innings. Sometimes there would be games going up to the 25th inning, 18th inning, 20th inning. And the MLB made a rule this past season to finally start with a runner on second every single inning in extra innings, which kind of benefited the offensive play because all of a sudden you start getting some runs scored every extra inning. So it's very good for baseball to cement this rule. They made it official yesterday. Major League Baseball, from now on till whenever baseball is over, whenever this world collapses, that MLB rule will always be on for a runner in extra innings. And I love that rule because there used to be certain extra inning games that sometimes you don't want to sit through because you get 3 straight outs, 3 straight pop-ups, and then now you have a runner on second, nobody out. That's a very good rule. So shout out to Major League Baseball, and we are only 3 weeks, or technically 2 weeks away from spring training. Man, oh man, I cannot wait. I'll be making my way out to Arizona early March. Go ahead and check out Dodger spring training. So there's gonna be some good times out there. But talking about Arizona, last night the Super Bowl was in Arizona. It was between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. And just to kind of recap a little bit, guys, let's recap and let's give you guys a little bit of background where these two teams started at the beginning of the year and now where they finish. Believe it or not, the NFL season started with 32 teams. And last night, there was only one team standing, and that was Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs after defeating the Eagles 38-35. And I talked about this, guys. I talked a lot about this matchup. I even said it 2 weeks ago when this matchup was secured. There's no one, especially a guy like Jalen Hurts. You can't compare Jalen Hurts to Patrick Mahomes. You can't compare Sirianni to Andy Reid. You can't compare the Eagles franchise to how great the Chiefs have been over the last 10 years. They're just so different. And when anyone wants to put that name of Hurts on the same sentence as Mahomes, just get off the bus right now. Get off the bus, because there is no reason. I get it. He was good all year long until yesterday, because up to the first half, he was amazing. Good. I was watching 24-14. I was like, okay, Jalen, okay, you're showing up a little bit, but what happened after that? You go into the locker room. There's some fake reports out there. It hasn't really been reported officially, but they're saying that there was something that happened with Patrick Mahomes during the second half and halftime while being in the locker room. Apparently, he was injected with something illegally, and they're trying to make some story out of it. Right now, there's nothing to even pay attention to that, because the focus has to be what happened on the field, all right? This is what happened on the field. The Philadelphia Eagles had a tremendous, amazing season. They started the season 13-0. 13-0, and they were riding a good one. Kansas City also had a very good start. Started 4-0. They lost a few games. They got back into the hunt and only lost 3 games all season long. Both of these two teams entered the season with only 3 losses into the playoffs. All right. They both had a bye. Both first seeds, top seeds of their conferences. Very good teams. Philadelphia has been playing amazing, sacking. I mean, they got over 60 sacks all year long. Guess how many they got last night? 0. They didn't sack Patrick Mahomes at all. That great defense that they've had all year long, they didn't show up in the Super Bowl. And I talked about this. I said that if you, first of all, cannot even get through the running game, can you believe that Jalen Hurts led the Eagles in rushing yards? He led the Eagles in rushing yards. The second man in line only had about 20-some yards rushing all night long. You let Isaiah Pacheco, rookie running back from the Kansas City Chiefs, outrun you by 50 yards. That's what I talked about, the running game. If the Chiefs could stop the running game from Philadelphia, that's going to make Jalen Hurts throw the ball. And that's exactly what Andy Reid did in the second half. They were making Jalen throw the ball. They were making, and he, believe it or not, he completed. He completed a couple of those long throws that I was just like, whoa, ouch, what a good catch. But hey, you got to finish strong. You got to finish the game. It's not about how you start the game. It's about how you finish. You can have the worst 3 quarters. Just like Tom Brady had a few years ago against Atlanta. He had one of the worst 3 quarters in Super Bowl history, only putting up 3 points. But in the fourth quarter, he showed up. He became the greatest of all time that day after coming back 28-3. So it's not about how good you were in the first half, because, yes, Jalen Hurts was leading 24-14 in the first half going into the locker room. Patrick Mahomes crying in the bench, suffering in pain. Then he goes into the locker room, whatever happens in there, he comes back out and he outperforms the Philadelphia Eagles. They outscored the Eagles 24-11 in the second half. All right. I knew that Patrick Mahomes was going to win this game. I guaranteed this, that there was just, in my belief, in my sense of watching NFL, I knew there was just no chance. Yes, they were very competitive down to the wire, down to the last kick. But even Vegas himself, Vegas had this game at -1.5 for the Eagles. Super favorites in a way, according to everybody. But the Kansas City Chiefs came out and showed out. Travis Kelce, I mean, you can really say that Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are one of the greatest duos in NFL history. The completions, the yards, the touchdowns, they both are up there, top 5 all time. So when you look at how great they performed last night, and one of the guys you got to give credit is Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju, he was lost in Pittsburgh over the past few years. Yeah, he's a USC talent out here from Los Angeles, but he was just not all there. Yes, he had Big Ben Roethlisberger for the past few years up there. He's not Patrick Mahomes. Once Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs traded Tyreek Hill over the summer, that kind of alerted a lot of people, like, why are you trading Tyreek Hill? Arguably one of the best and fastest wide receivers out in the game right now. And you trade that man away, you replace him with Juju, and then you still go on and win the Super Bowl? That lets you know that Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy, they know what they're doing. And you got to give a lot of credit to the offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. That man out there put up 3 straight touchdown drives for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the second half. That's what a player does. As great as Patrick Mahomes, as great as maybe Nick Foles a few years ago, you got to put up certain drives in the second half when it matters. And that's exactly what Patrick did yesterday. Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid put up some great play calling. All right. So congratulations one more time to the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chiefs Kingdom and all of Missouri. Because I'm not going to be Donald Trump right here and say that, oh, great shout out to the state of Kansas. Because we all remember that tweet a few years ago when he greeted and thanked the great state of Kansas for the Kansas City Chiefs, which we know that Kansas City is not in Kansas. But that's what Mr. Trump said. But yeah, man, I was blown away. I was blown away with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs yesterday. I know a lot of people were on the Eagles bandwagon. There were a lot of people, and believe it or not, I see why. They got a good guy out there, Jalen Hurts, and I got to give that man some respect. He did play well. He played pretty good all year long, but couldn't finish the job. It's all about finishing the job, and that's something he was not able to do. All right, so that's my thoughts on the Super Bowl and what happened last night and how incredible Patrick Mahomes is. 2 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 Super Bowl champions, 2 league MVPs, 5-time Pro Bowler. What else do you want in 5 years? What else? Just great. Just great. Amazing great. But I'm going to go into a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to give you guys my last thoughts of the NFL season before we actually look forward for training camp and, and mini camp and whatnot later on in May. So we'll go ahead and return. All right, when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that and some more on NBA basketball. We got the Lakers in action, but that's not the only action that's going on, all right? Because we saw what happened with Kevin Durant being traded at the deadline to the Phoenix Suns, all right? I have my thoughts on the Phoenix Suns and how they're destined to lose to the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals when we return here on Monday Night Fredo.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of Keller Williams.
United One Protection Services. With over 30 years of experience, United One Protection Services has more expertise and knowledge than the other security companies combined. Residential, commercial, municipal, or institutional, United One Protection Services does more than just security. We protect your livelihood. United One Protection Services.
We're back here on Monday Night Fredo, guys. Man, believe it or not, right now I was just checking out some highlights and some scoring on what's happening in the NBA. Believe it or not, I don't know what is going on. After the Mavericks acquired Kyrie Irving, Dallas is looking into being 0-2 with those 2 stars. So I don't know. Is that really going to work? I thought it was going to work, but the first 2 games with both of them on the court, they're 0-2. So I don't know what's going to happen right now. They're down 20 against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But I did want to mention one more thing about the NFL. You know, the NFL has been along for so many years that we already know how the NFL works. We know who Roger Goodell is. We know how critical he is with certain things. We know how the refs can at times control certain games. But this game right here, I didn't even want to mention this part in the first part of the show because it is at times annoying, and whether that's your team or not, certain calls are made on the field for a certain reason, whether it's in the basketball court, on the baseball field, or on the football field. You know, sometimes there's certain decisions that just get called and you got to deal with them. I understand it's Super Bowl 57, but it's Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball and someone is holding his teammate. That is certainly not going to happen. And I know the cornerback from the Eagles who got called for that holding flag, which was a hold, even himself, Bradbury, after the game, admitted to it to the reporters and said, hey, yes, I held him. I was hoping the ref didn't see that. That's the same exact words that came out of his mouth. So if himself admitted to holding, why are people making a big deal out of it? He admitted he held on to the jersey. He knew that he was going to get called. He was hoping he'd get called. But when some critical calls like that, kind of people want to put it into, well, the Chiefs only won because of that freaking foul. No, it's not because of the foul. It's because they outplayed them in the second half. That's the reason they had the momentum. After rushing for a 65-yard run right there to put him right in the red zone, that's the momentum they were carrying. So we knew that flag was sooner than later going to come out. That was the only and the last call that the refs had in that game. The only holding call all game long came in the last minutes of the fourth quarter. So yes, people want to say, well, why do they call the first one till the end? Why not just not call it at all? Well, guess what? It's the Super Bowl. You're not going to get held on and not get called. All right. So that call had nothing to do with the outcome of Super Bowl 57. All right. Because if it was, this game would have been 0-0 all game long. Then they would have won with the field goal. But no, Jalen Hurts had opportunities. The Philadelphia defense gave up 24 points in the second half, 38 in total. That's a lot for the Eagles to be considered a good defensive team. To give up 38 points in the Super Bowl, you are not that good. All right. So that is it with the Super Bowl. Congratulations, Patrick Mahomes, KC. We'll see you guys next season. All right. But it's time to go ahead and move along. And we're going to stick in Arizona right now. Okay. Kevin Durant's move, a lot of people didn't really expect that. You know, that was in the talks for quite some time. Maybe Durant teaming up with CP3, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. I never thought in my life that if KD were to go to Phoenix, that Phoenix will hold on to CP3, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. I mean, yes, you got to put some respect to Cam Johnson. You know, Cam Johnson, Drake Crowder. I don't see him being that type of player. I don't see these other guys. I mean, yeah, Malik. Yeah, they're good players, but you gave up those players for Kevin Durant. Like, what was the GM from the Brooklyn Nets thinking? Like, I'm willing to give up Anthony Davis for Kevin Durant, and you prefer taking those guys over a deal with the Lakers. We get it. You don't want to make a deal with the Lakers, you know, in Brooklyn out there. So that's the reason why Kyrie's not here. But that move was just like, what the F was that? But hey, Kevin Durant got what he wanted. He requested a specific trade to the Phoenix Suns. Now that he's in Phoenix, he's still hurt. He's out of the lineup. He won't be in the lineup for quite some time. You know, even though the All-Star game is happening this weekend in Utah, he will also not participate in the All-Star festivities, so he won't be there. But Devin Booker is back. Chris Paul is playing. DeAndre Ayton is there. All right. So those guys out there seem to be the team to beat out in the West. Yes, you got to put them at the very, very top. Even though Kevin Durant has not played a game just yet, that talent right there is very, very good. All right. So I cannot wait to see how they actually look when Kevin Durant returns to the court. But they are the favorites, in my opinion, to make it out of the West. Golden State, they're not all there this year. I don't think they're even going to get a chance to even repeat this year. Dallas, with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, like I mentioned earlier today, they're 0-2 so far. Well, technically 0-1. They're about to lose right now. They're down 20-some points at home to the Timberwolves. So they're going to be 0-2. Can they really work it out? I believe in Jason Kidd. I think Jason Kidd knows what he's doing out there. He was a very good, valuable piece when he was with the Lakers, also win a championship in 2020 with Frank Vogel. Jason Kidd might know what he's doing out there with those two, but they're so ball dominant that when I was watching the first game together, I believe it was Friday night or Saturday night, they were both playing for the first time together, and it was just kind of awkward. You see two guys that are like, no, here, you take the ball. Now you take it. Oh, no, now you take it. It seemed pretty awkward. There got to be some sort of connection and chemistry. They got to learn to play with each other. So that's one thing that might take maybe a week or two, maybe more practice, but they will overcome that. And I'll take them as the number 2 team in the West. Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving put together, that is very, very scary. Another team that I'm backing away from the West is the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm not buying into the Memphis Grizzlies. I think they're just too young and immature. They are one of the youngest teams, and the more, I don't know, they talk too much. And sometimes when you talk too much, they're just not, they're not that team. They can't back up the talk. They went into Boston and got slaughtered this weekend. So they just keep getting rocked by Minnesota. They keep getting rocked by Denver. They're just not that team that they were. John Morant is not the shooter that we all think he is. The more you see that guy play, the more he makes you think about, like, hey, nah, don't shoot that. Drive in instead. He's one of those. Maybe you know, like that feeling you had against Russell Westbrook where it's like, no, don't shoot. Drive in instead or kick it out. That's what I'm looking at in John Morant. Because, yeah, Ja can shoot the 3, just like Westbrook was able to do in his early years. He was able to shoot the ball pretty good, but he was never a good shooter. He was more of a drive in, slam dunk, and that's exactly what John Morant can do. Posterize you, drive in. Those up and under layups that he does are just so incredible, but he's not a shooter. He's not a shooter, and that has to be fixed up in Memphis if they ever plan into maybe making an NBA final appearance, because they were very close last year. Very close. Just not close enough. But Phoenix will do their thing. Phoenix will take on the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are just a heavy favorite. They're the heavy favorites to win it all this year. And you know that I watched the Boston Celtics. I feel like now I don't even miss the game. I'm always watching Jason Tatum develop every single game. I love his style of play, and I love how great they are as an overall team. Can't wait till Marcus Smart gets back on the court. But I think that's going to be the matchup you're going to see. You're going to see Kevin Durant against Jason Tatum in the NBA Finals. I think that's the matchup that we're going to get. And if KD, check this out, if Kevin Durant can play up to his potential, Phoenix has a good chance at maybe winning. Because if Devin Booker's knocking down shots, if Chris Paul is doing Chris Paul things at a very late age of his career, they might have a shot. This might be Chris Paul's last shot in winning an NBA championship. Might be. I do want to say one more thing about Kevin Durant. You have to stop and think for a second, like a guy in Kevin Durant's talent. We saw what he did when he left OKC and walked over to Golden State, won 2 championships, 3 final appearances, then walked away to Brooklyn, wanting to do things on his own. 4 years later, after requesting 2 trades, he gets traded away. Now I'm looking, okay, he forced his way to Phoenix, to a roster that has Chris Paul, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, and a good coach in Monty Williams. You forced your way over there. That makes me think now. And I love Kevin Durant. I respect Kevin Durant. One of my all-time favorite players to watch. But is Kevin Durant now realizing that, okay, I cannot create my own team and win it by myself? He needs to go to another team that's already built, you know? And this is kind of funny because it made me realize, I saw this online. I forgot someone posted this online. And it's like, you know, when you're in school, when you were in college, or even at work, if you got a group project or something that you got to do as a group, and you kind of show up days later, like days before the project is going to be done, and you just show up and you take credit for it. You're like, yep, I did all this. I did it all. And you get a good credit. You get good credit for that. But Kevin Durant, that's what it seems like he's doing. He walked away from a situation that was maybe no chance of winning an NBA championship, very slight chance, to walking into a situation where it's kind of made for him to walk into the NBA finals this year. So I do not know what is really going on through his mind. What way does he want to be looked at once his career is done? Does he want to be looked like a guy that likes to go to certain places that are already fixed and he just walks in and gets a ring? Because there's a slight chance he gets a ring if Boston does not make it to the NBA finals. You know, and if anyone gets hurt out there, you know, things can change out there. But I think that those two teams will be the two teams standing at the very end in the NBA finals come June. But I think they might be good. They might be good. Decent enough. But we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to give you guys some updates on what's going on around the league as well and what is going on in Lakerland. LeBron James out for his third straight game, and the Lakers currently up in Portland right now, taking on Anthony Simmons and Mr. Dame Time Lillard. We'll return here on Monday Night Fredo.
Profanity Nation. A podcast for the fans, by the fans. Dive deep into the topics the other shows miss. Raw and uncensored.
And he's going to play team ball. His legacy is at stake.
Rare, hard-hitting interviews with players, coaches, and you, the super fans.
I'm not hating. I'm like, okay, cool. Good.
3 championships in 5 years. He's more than good, bro.
Profanity Nation. Listen live or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. Powered by Jesse Brown of
Back here on Monday Night Fredo live from Los Angeles here at the Infinity Studios. Guys, make sure everyone subscribe here on our YouTube channel, on Twitter and Instagram, Infinity TV. Make sure you check us out because we got a lot of great things coming up here. All right, we got a lot of things going on. We're always bringing you some of the best highlights and all of our opinions in regarding what's happening in the sports world today. And today exactly, it is LeBron James missing his third straight game due to a high ankle sprain. Okay, so if you have an ankle sprain, the doctor most likely is going to tell you, hey, stay off your foot, try to not walk too much, try not to do any running, and stay away from putting any pressure on your ankle. The Lakers were in Los Angeles over the weekend. Well, technically in Los Angeles because they were up in Golden State on Saturday, traveled back home, then flew back up to Portland. And LeBron James was at the Super Bowl yesterday. The Super Bowl was in Arizona. I'm guessing, as I'm very familiar, we're going to multiple arenas and stadiums. There's a lot of walking. There's a lot of stairs. Maybe there's some elevators. But LeBron James, what the hell are you doing going, traveling, putting some more pressure on your ankle, unless it's not that serious, unless there's no pain and you're just trying to take some time off? I get it. You're 38 years old, 20th year in the league. I get it. You might want some rest. It's the All-Star week, technically, in a way. But come on. I get it. Super Bowl 57, you want to be there. But if you got to stay away from your ankle and this is the things you're doing, the reason why the Lakers maybe are about to maybe lose today against Portland. It's going to be a tough game up there in Portland as they're currently in action right now in the first quarter. Just kind of tipped off a few minutes ago. But what are the Lakers really considering with LeBron James, with this current situation right now? Because the Lakers must have, or if they have the power to control this, why are they allowing LeBron James to travel like this? I mean, that's a pretty interesting question and concern that Laker management should be aware of. Like, why is LeBron traveling to Phoenix and traveling up north to Portland within like 5 hours? Then, it's just too much for LeBron James being at age 38. I get it. You want to be everywhere. You just cannot do that. All right. Just like I want to be everywhere. But right now, I'm about to leave, guys. I'm done with you guys here today. I let you guys know my thoughts on the Super Bowl and how great Patrick Mahomes did, how awful Jalen Hurts played in the second half, because you got to give that man credit for the first half. But at the end of the day, couldn't finish the job. The Lakers might finish the job tonight. Kevin Durant, we don't know when he's coming back. And one thing we do know is in 2 weeks, baseball is back. And I will be back next Monday night here on Monday Night Fredo, live from the Infinity Studios. I'll see you guys next week. Adios.